So today I will share 7 tricks that will help you sell anything to anyone. Why do people see the problem clearly but still do not take action? If you stay till end, then I will also share my personal experience when I use 7th trick to actually close a deal. Trick 1. The situation trap. People do not buy from you because you explain your product well. They buy when you make them understand how important it is to an action to improve their current situation. Difficult to understand, right? Let me explain with an example. For example, if you are selling a fitness program and someone says, I just want to lose a little weight, the worst thing you can do is start pitching your transformation system. Instead, start asking structured questions. How long have you been trying to lose it? What have you tried before? What usually happens after 2 or 3 weeks? This helps them understand what is the real situation, and this self-discovery is always more powerful than external advice. When someone articulates their own gap, the brain treats it as truth, not persuasion. Your work is half done. Now, you don't have to persuade them that here is the gap. Trick 2. The pain drill. Our brain makes decisions emotionally first and justifies them logically later. If someone does not feel the cost of their current situation, they will not move. They will say things like, I'll try next month, or let me think about it. And that is the death sentence of most sales conversations. Let's take the same fitness example. After they admit they have been trying to lose weight for 2 years with no real results, you don't stop there, but you go deeper. How does that make you feel? How much time have you already invested? If nothing changes, where will you be 1 year from now? Now their brain is no longer analyzing calories. It is imagining frustration and it is replaying failed attempts. Or in business, if someone says their revenue fluctuates every month, you ask, how stressful is that? Has that ever affected your sleep? Has it ever impacted your confidence at home? What you are doing is linking the problem to identity and emotion. And when a problem becomes emotional, it becomes urgent. This is where most salespeople stop because they feel awkward going deeper. But if you do not bring the pain to the surface, it stays buried, and buried pain never creates action. Trick 3. The doubt seed. Now, this trick is not about identifying someone's problem, and it is not about intensifying their pain. It is about weakening a very specific internal belief. The belief that I can eventually figure this out alone. And this belief is extremely common. The doubt seed works best in situations where a person has already invested time, effort, and emotional energy into something but has not achieved consistent results. This could be someone trying to grow their business for 2 years without stable income, someone attempting multiple fitness routines without long-term change, or someone preparing for exams and repeating the same strategy again and again. Psychologically, the brain protects identity. Admitting my method might be flawed feels uncomfortable. So instead, people tell themselves they just need more time. Time becomes the excuse that protects the ego. Your job here is not to attack their competence, it is to separate effort from effectiveness. For example, if someone says they have been working hard for 2 years, you calmly say, you have clearly put in serious effort. If effort alone was enough, would you still be at the same level? Now their brain must reconcile a contradiction. They worked hard, but results did not change proportionally. That realization creates cognitive dissonance. Or you ask, if repeating the same strategy was going to give you a different outcome, wouldn't you have seen signs of that by now? You are not telling them they are incapable. You are helping them recognize that independence might actually be slowing them down. Once that shift happens, something powerful occurs. They stop defending their current approach and they start seeking structure. And when someone moves from I'll figure it out to I need a better system, resistance drops dramatically. Trick 4. The authority lock. Imagine you're trying to sell a course to a college student. They are interested. They agree it makes sense. They even say it could help them. But at the end, they say, I need to ask my parents. Now, the sale is no longer in your control. It has moved to a third person who was never part of the conversation. And most of the time, that third person will say no. Not because your product is bad, but because they did not emotionally experience the problem or the value. This is where the authority lock becomes important. Psychologically, when someone feels like they are the final decision maker, they think differently. Their brain evaluates long-term impact. It imagines outcomes. It takes ownership. But when someone feels like they are only collecting information for someone else, they stay neutral. They do not commit emotionally. So instead of just asking, are you the decision maker, which sounds mechanical, you create commitment first. For example, you say, if this decision was entirely yours, based on what we discussed, would you move forward? Now, when they go to talk to parents, partner, or boss, they are not asking, should I do this? They are saying, I think this is right for me. That shift changes conversations completely. The authority lock works in sales, negotiations, even relationships. Trick 5, the consequence bomb. Have you ever wondered why people insure their phones? Why do they buy health insurance? Why do they suddenly start studying seriously 2 weeks before exams? It is rarely because they are excited about gain. It is because they are afraid of loss. Psychologically, our brain is wired with something called loss aversion. Research in behavioral economics shows that the pain of losing is almost twice as powerful as the pleasure of gaining. That means avoiding loss is a stronger motivator than achieving success. Trick 6, the Ikea effect effort mirror. There is something called the Ikea effect. When people put effort into something, they value it more. Not because it is objectively better, but because our brain equates effort to value. Now, let's see how this applies to selling. If you are selling a business service, instead of pitching immediately, you make them calculate their own numbers. You ask them to break down their monthly revenue. You ask them to estimate lost opportunities. You make them articulate their goals clearly. This effort makes them attached to the product subconsciously, and the product also becomes valuable. This is the goal paint and most subtle but effective trick in the book. When people emotionally experience their desired future, they start attaching identity to it. And once identity gets involved, action feels natural. These tricks work because they align with how our brain is already wired.